A clutch win in every sense of the word. Mike Petraglia inside Paycor Stadium following a Thursday night 27-15 Bengals win over the Miami Dolphins. Miami's first loss in 4 games. Bengals back to 500 at 2-2 with a date with the Baltimore Ravens in 10 days down in Baltimore. But as for this game, one thing Zach Taylor said after the game, he said, "I love this team. I love everything about them. They didn't flinch when the pressure got big." And it did get big a couple of times in this game, including when the Miami Dolphins took a 15-14 lead late in the third quarter on the third field goal of the day by Jason Sanders. The Bengals seemed like they had this game in control at 14-6, but the Dolphins really showed some resiliency. They lose their quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa, to a head and neck injury. He was laid out prone on the field at midfield near the Bengals logo for about 10 minutes. They brought the stretcher out and they brought the gurney out, and he was removed. He was taken to a local medical center. But the good news about Tua, he will travel home with the Miami Dolphins and get more medical attention down in South Florida. That injury happened late in the second quarter on a sack by Josh Tupou right around midfield. And again, it appears that Tua Tagovailoa will be okay. It's been a rough week for the Miami starting quarterback. Obviously, he was knocked out of the game against the Buffalo Bills in the first half, came back, and then, of course, tonight he left midway through the second quarter. The Dolphins, behind Teddy Bridgewater, went down the field late in the first half, scored a touchdown, and that made it a very close game, certainly, but they missed the extra point. It was 14-12 Bengals at halftime. In the second half, the Bengals defense really rose up to the occasion a couple of times. Logan Wilson with a big stop on third and short, forcing the Dolphins to punt when they had the momentum in the game and a chance to go down the field and take the lead. And then there was another huge play, actually a huge night for one Von Bell. He had a pair of interceptions, one in the first half, in the first quarter, and then one late in the game as the Dolphins were driving, trailing just 20-15. The Dolphins had the ball inside the Bengals 35-yard line, and it was Teddy Bridgewater throwing over the middle. The ball was overshot, and there was Von Bell at the 5-yard line of Cincinnati. He returned the ball some 50 yards to the Miami 45 after a big play downfield to Jamar Chase. It was Joe Burrow with his second touchdown of the night to Hayden Hurst, and that essentially put this game on ice. But a lot of big moments in this game for the Bengals, and that is why Zach Taylor was so happy with the way the team performed under the lights. It was obviously a huge emotional night, 67,200, a new Paycor Stadium record, a new Cincinnati football record for attendance in the city of Cincinnati. That eclipsed the 66,200 that were on hand for the Bengals-Raiders playoff game back in January, game obviously won by the Bengals. But obviously we had the Ring of Honor ceremonies at halftime. That went off without a hitch with Isaac Curtis and Big Willie Anderson going up on the Ring of Honor as names 5 and 6 on the east facade of Paycor Stadium. And then certainly, there was the fans in the stands that really pumped up the defense. Chido Awuzie said that he had not seen anything like it in his time here in Cincinnati. It was electric, he said, in the locker room after. Certainly contributed to the intensity with which the Bengals played. Consider this about the Bengals defense. They have allowed one touchdown in their last 3 and 3/4 games. They allowed 2 touchdowns against the Dallas Cowboys in week number 2, and they didn't allow another touchdown until late in the first half when the Dolphins scored their only touchdown of this game. As we said, Teddy Bridgewater with a shuttle pass coming in for the injured Tua Tagovailoa. So the Bengals are 2-2 now. Joe Burrow had a good night. The offense had 3 explosive plays, one to T. Higgins for a 55-yard touchdown, beating Xavier Howard. And then they also had explosive plays downfield to Jamar Chase and one to Tyler Boyd. So everyone got in on the action. Joe Mixon got his first touchdown of the year, a rushing touchdown in which the entire pile moved 5 yards from the 5-yard line all the way into the end zone. And Ted Karras told me after the game, it brought a smile to his face. It was like a rugby scrum. But anyway, the Bengals win this one. They are back at 500, beating the Miami Dolphins on Thursday Night Football by a score of 27-15. Next up, the Baltimore Ravens down in Baltimore in 9 days. Inside Paycor Stadium, Mike Petraglia, CLNS Media.